World War II was a time of global conflict and unimaginable brutality, a period marked by intense battles and widespread devastation. It was a fight for freedom against tyranny, a struggle that spanned continents and involved millions of lives. In the heart of this chaos, an unlikely alliance emerged in the final days of the war, a moment of unexpected unity amidst the turmoil. American soldiers and German soldiers, once sworn enemies, found themselves fighting side by side, united by a common cause. Their common enemy, the ruthless SS, whose brutal tactics and relentless pursuit of power made them a formidable foe. This unlikely alliance took place at Castle Itter, a prison in Austria holding prominent French prisoners including former prime ministers and generals. The story of the battle for Castle Itter is a testament to the courage and compassion that can arise in the darkest of times, showcasing the resilience of the human spirit. It's a story of shared humanity and a refusal to surrender to hatred, a powerful reminder of what can be achieved when people come together. In the face of overwhelming odds, this alliance fought to protect the innocent and uphold the ideals of freedom, standing firm against oppression. The battle stands as a beacon of hope, a reminder that even in the midst of war, the bonds of humanity can prevail, transcending enmity and division. It's a story that deserves to be remembered, a story that speaks to the best of us in the worst of times, highlighting the enduring power of solidarity. The story begins in the waning days of World War II, as the conflict drew to a close. The once mighty Third Reich was crumbling, its forces in disarray and its leaders in retreat. Allied forces were closing in on all sides, their relentless advance signaling the end of the war. It was in this chaotic backdrop that the fate of a handful of French VIPs, imprisoned in Castle Itter, hung precariously in the balance, their lives intertwined with the outcome of this extraordinary alliance. Castle Itter, nestled in the Austrian Alps, was no ordinary prison. Its walls held secrets and stories that would later become legendary. It had been commandeered by the Nazis to house high-profile prisoners, individuals who were seen as significant threats to the regime. These prisoners were considered political enemies of the Reich, each one a symbol of defiance against Nazi tyranny. Among them were former prime ministers, generals, and even a tennis star, all held captive within the castle's formidable walls. They were symbols of the resistance against Nazi oppression, embodying the spirit of freedom and resilience. One of the key figures in this story is Major Josef Gangl, a man whose actions would become pivotal in the unfolding events. He was the commander of a Wehrmacht unit stationed near Castle Itter, a position that placed him at the heart of the conflict. Gangl was no fanatical Nazi. He was a man of conscience who had grown increasingly disillusioned with the Nazi regime and its brutal policies. He was a man of conscience who had grown increasingly disillusioned with the Nazi regime. He saw the horrors of the war firsthand and recognized the inherent evil of the SS. Understanding that their actions were a stain on humanity. On the other side of the lines was Captain John C. Jack Lee Jr., an American tank commander with a reputation for bravery. Lee was a seasoned soldier, hardened by the realities of war. His experience in combat had prepared him for the challenges ahead. He was leading his unit, part of the 12th Armored Division of the U.S. 7th Army, through Austria, pushing forward with determination. They were on a mission to liberate territory and accept enemy surrenders, bringing hope to those who had suffered under Nazi rule. As the war raged on, the SS guards at Itter received orders to execute the prisoners, a grim directive that threatened the lives of all inside. The SS, fanatically loyal to Hitler, were determined to carry out these heinous orders, showing no mercy or hesitation. The prisoners' lives hung in the balance, their fate uncertain as the threat of execution loomed over them. Their only hope lay in the most unlikely of places, a Wehrmacht officer and an American tank commander, two men from opposing sides who would come together in a desperate bid to save lives. Word of the SS's deadly intentions reached Major Gangl. He knew he had to act, and he had to act fast. Time was of the essence. The lives of the prisoners depended on him. Their fate was in his hands. Gangl reached out to the approaching American forces, hoping for a swift response. He sent a message, pleading for their help in defending the castle against the SS. The urgency was palpable. Captain Lee received Gangl's message. He read it carefully. He recognized the gravity of the situation. The stakes were incredibly high. Lee was a soldier, but he was also a human being. He felt a deep sense of duty. He couldn't stand by and allow innocent people to be slaughtered. His conscience wouldn't allow it. Lee made a daring decision. He would join forces with the German Wehrmacht to defend Castle Itter. It was an unprecedented alliance. The SS assault on Castle Itter began in the early hours. The air was thick with tension. They were heavily armed and determined to overrun the castle and eliminate the prisoners. Their resolve was unyielding. The defenders, a ragtag group of American soldiers, German soldiers, and even armed prisoners, were vastly outnumbered. Yet they stood united. They were outgunned, but they were not outmatched in spirit. Their determination was their greatest weapon. The defenders fought with incredible courage and tenacity. Their bravery was unmatched. They repulsed attack after attack. Their resilience was remarkable. The SS threw everything they had at the castle, but the defenders held firm. Their resolve was unbreakable. The fighting raged throughout the day, each side suffering casualties. The cost of battle was high. Despite their valiant efforts, the defenders were tiring. Fatigue was setting in. They were running low on ammunition and supplies. The situation was becoming dire.